in 2026 is going to be highlighting multifaceted, multi-hyphenated people. You can have an umbrella of things that you talk about. You have multiple topics at your leisure to explore and find information about, but you have to be in alignment with your philosophy. Your values and what you value could be attached to those pillars and those topics that you have dear to your heart. I felt so prompted to get this out there because this new moon in Libra is allowing you to see exactly where you stand right now and being able to metamorphosize your current role in society and bring forth things that you know people need, you know you can offer, and this is also to bring in currency. In order for you to metamorphosize into a new person and a new narrative and a new role and a new phase in your journey, you're going to have to establish yourself multiple times. And you are the only person that can self-promote. Your teenager has to see value in your ideas in order for you to self-promote. So as I was saying, the more that you allow yourself to build from this standpoint, your inner child, your inner teenager, and allowing yourself to utilize your professionalism to execute these ideas and offer them to your community or industry, is allowing yourself to go, it's allowing yourself to go through these experiences and these trial runs multiple different ways. And how I go through this is the building a new reality and mentally rehearsing what that trial run looks like over and over and over again, and allowing yourself to show exactly why these things didn't work. And if they will work in the future, this is where you can execute and build upon this over and over and over again, so that you know exactly what season to offer this to your community, where we have certain planets and certain signs, and then you can execute these ideas with specific moon cycles. So allowing yourself to utilize your moon placement, your Mars placement in your midheaven in order for you to see through this metamorphosis. This new moon is allowing you to actually build from a standpoint you've never even thought you were capable of building from. So allowing yourself to show exactly what portion of your ideas is going to be like, okay, I think I can manifest this. I think I can manifest that. This is something that you can maintain. This is not you seeking validation. This is something you know you can actually do, I should say, the research for. You can actually build from your own emotional capacity. Then you can have the mentality to thoroughly go through and execute this through that trial run. This is where mental rehearsal and the imprinted empire we talk about to build your foundation. So this new moon is rooted in that foundation building. You have to build the foundation of your mentality, and this mentality is balancing out what you have as a pleasure, what you actually want to learn and commit to, because Libra energy is about committing to something. You commit to, and then you actually let that commitment transform you into a new person. So as I built this business and I built this journey for us to psychologically prepare ourselves for any reality, we have to have a strong foundation, and your strong foundation is going to be rooted in your mentality. What do you allow yourself to explore? Your inner child needs to be that person, because when you get bored, these are the things that we don't want to elaborate on. We don't want to even allow ourselves to explore because we're already bored. So you have to find something interesting. You have to have something that you're emotionally you can emotionally allow yourself to explore and have the capacity to explore till its full capacity. You have to actually show interest to what you're working on in order for you to be the professionalized person in your midheaven. So I stated in the beginning that your midheaven is going to be in a paywall. This is offered to one-on-one consultations, and this is where your creative plans are already planned out, and you can maneuver through your next journey, whether that's a quarter or a month of that quarter. Then we have the inner teenager, and that is group work because we have to have those things be tested out on people, where you have now the community through the imprinted empire. You have multiple people that you can connect with and see if these things are working out for you. And then after that, before that, you can work on your moon sign. And this is where this is public work, where you can utilize your social media for this. You can utilize your own personal journals with. You can go through these things by yourself. I think that this is more of a vulnerable space, so you can do this at your own pace. So I think that that's exactly how I've built this business, to actually execute your professionalism, because this is a practice. You can't just come out and say, oh, I'm professional, because this is how we went into the interviews for our current job. We went into interviews and stated we have skills in this, we are capable of this, and none of us always felt comfortable. This is where you build your experience and your mentality to actually secure yourself in the foundation and your mentality before you even show up professionally. So I feel extremely prompted to make this video, and it is October 21st. The new moon in Libra is tonight, and we are entering into a lot of our metamorphosis. And I've been talking about this. We talk about the inner teenager, we talk about the inner child and the inner artist in the imprinted empire. My name is LXSN, and I am going to be discussing specific topics that we're going to be approaching throughout this season. So I am going to be kind of like listing off a couple of things that I want to discuss, and then trying to elaborate that aspect in context through the last 3 quarters of the year. So we are entering into like the second month of the last quarter, and this is entering into our inner teenager. So this is where your Mars placement is going to take action. However, we have to plan first, which is going to be your inner child. So self-identification, I have my book here, I have my notes, I am ready to go. So we have the inner child in self-identification. October is already entering us into the spooky season of our life, and how we're going to address these aspects of ourselves is going to be showing exactly how we want to transform. We have to transform into a new person, a new role, and this new phase that we're entering into is going to have us establish a new persona. So after you kind of figure out what your narrative is supposed to be, you are going to be utilizing exactly what your community needs. You're going to be looking at the unmet needs of your community and fulfilling that from there. So as most of our work in the imprinted empire is referencing the employee to transform into the freelancer, we're not going to use that as the context for this video, but we're going to be discussing how you can use your skills from your current job to assess yourself and meeting the needs of your community. So now we're not talking about food, we're not talking about physical things, we're not talking about homes, nothing like that. We have to talk about mindset. The way that your community is as a mentality is going to be your best asset. So now that we're going to focus on that part, we're talking about mindset. The inner child has to be somebody who is fulfilled. The inner child of your community is looking for unity. What makes you united? And these are the things that you're going to have to pinpoint on. So I would start from the knowledge that you have from your current employer. What did you learn in your position? I would say on the job, the experience you learned is going to be how you establish yourself in your new role. So we have the moon in Scorpio after tonight. After tonight, the moon is in Libra tonight. After tonight, it's going into Scorpio, and those 0 degrees is the purest form of its energy. So we're gonna be more metamorphosizing into our new role, and we have to psychologically prepare ourselves to walk that narrative. So let me go to it. Let me actually go to it. Hold on. Okay. So when it comes to the employer, to the freelance journey, you are starting from scratch. Not necessarily, but your skill set is going to be your starting point. What you offer to your actual job is what you're going to offer to your community in mentality form, not physical form, not task form. What are you trying to get them to execute? There is a goal, and you have to tell them how to reach that goal. This is your participation to your community. So all right, so at first you're going to define your philosophy. This is your values, who you are, what you're about, and why you have these set of values. So after you find that out, your ecosystem is going to be how you execute these values throughout the offers that you offer anybody, meeting the needs of your community, right? So why I mentioned the inner child is your imagination, allowing yourself to see exactly what part of you needs to be transformed in order for you to see your imagination as valuable. You have to come up with ideas. Your inner child is going to help you execute these ideas. You have to become somebody who is valuable, and then you have to see yourself as an asset. The ideas that you come up with have to have a trial run and execution reports. How well did you test out this idea? You cannot psych yourself out and eliminate an idea before you've gotten 3 or 4 variables of that idea. You need to have a trial run. You need to test it out. You need to see exactly why it didn't work. You need to see where you need an improvement, and if it doesn't work, why won't it work in the future? Because we're able to improvise on ideas that we already have in the chamber. Once it worked before, if it didn't work anymore, we need to know why. What changed from the last time in order for you to maneuver through the next phase? Okay, so your metamorphosis is going to assist you in your leadership skills. Your metamorphosis is going to help you in your leadership skills. Your metamorphosis is going to help you in your leadership skills. Your leadership skills is going to be utilized for your metamorphosis. In order for you to metamorphosize into a new person and a new narrative and a new role and a new phase in your journey, you're going to have to establish yourself multiple times. And you are the only person that can self-promote. Your teenager has to see value in your ideas in order for you to self-promote. So that's first. That's the last thing I'm going to talk about for the sake of your inner child, your inner teenager, and your inner artist. Your inner artist is the professionalized version that you have yet to reach. Okay, so the last 3 months of 2025 is going to show you exactly what you're approaching in 2026. These areas of your life is going to see exactly how much information you gathered about yourself. Allowing yourself to see this as a narrative that you cannot duplicate. You have to actually improvise from. This is the ground point. This is the starting point. So I wanted to state in the beginning that the subjective experience through this metamorphosis is something that you cannot articulate to someone else and they see exactly how you feel. You have to be able to understand that the things that you experience during this metamorphosis is your point of view to your reality, from your standpoint, from your mentality. No one can validate these ideas. No one can tell you these ideas are worthless. No one can tell you that this is not worth your time. You are the only person that can see these ideas through. So your self expression, your subjective experience, and your metamorphosis is the triangle that you need for manifestation. Okay, so the last 3 months, you get 90 days each month. Well, you get 90 days per quarter. You get 30 days per month. So now you have 3 weeks out of the month to prepare to execute ideas, trial runs, execution reports, and then see why it didn't work and why it won't work for this season. And will this work for the next season? This is how you consider yourself and your ideas valuable. Okay, so now that we have that portion set, establishing your ideas and self-promoting. Self-promoting is going to be utilized by your your sun sign and your birth chart. Your inner child is going to be your moon sign. This is how you bring your ideas forth and then manifest them from your imagination. Your imagination and your improvising skills go hand in hand in order for you to see valuable assets from your treasury bank of ideas. Okay, so now your sun sign in your birth chart is going to be the actual essence of your value that is going to self-promote, quote unquote, that inner teenager to your professionalism. So now, after you have secured yourself in why your idea is valid, what report and findings that you have as an experienced person, you lived the experience because you put it through a trial run. These are things that you're going to have to utilize from this new moon entering into Scorpio. This is like the groundwork of a metamorphosis being birthed. This is before it's brought to light. So as you build in this portion of your life, you're going to have to see exactly why these ideas work for you. How are you going to be able to utilize any of the things that you have to do building this narrative for yourself in the future? So as I said, your sun sign is going to help you self-promote into the new narrative that you have to have. So as you break down each month of the last quarter of 2025, you are able to see exactly what portion of your ideas is going to work for what season. How can you meet the needs of your community? How can you meet the needs of your industry? How can you meet the needs that people are not tending to? That is your sweet spot. You have to find something that people aren't doing, are not willing to do, and not willing to execute. These are your sweet spots. If you find value and you have ideas for that to be improvised from, you can innovate that industry and build upon it. This is where you are not really copying anybody. You are utilizing what's already there and making it better. All right, so as I said, the moon travels through all 12 signs in the zodiac wheel, 2.5 days. You have every time you see the moon in a sign, like it's going into Scorpio, you have to realize that you have 3 days to utilize that energy, and then it moves on to the next sign. You have to know that those energies that you're working with on a daily basis is going to be utilized over and over and over again for the amount of time that you have that sign in the energy of your community. So as you're building this narrative and you have to execute your role within this metamorphosis, you have to understand your context to your value. What is this serving? How does this serve your community? What needs does it meet? And how is it benefiting your audience in this time? During that moon, wherever the moon is, whether it's waxing, waning, and it's a new moon or full moon, you have to understand the planets that are surrounding that moon at that time. Your industry, your community is going to be facing challenges. That's the reason why you're bringing this forward. So as I said, your sun sign and your moon sign is going to help you execute moving forward. All right, so allowing yourself to self-promote and allowing this portion of your metamorphosis to validate your experience moving forward. So as I stated in the beginning, we have 90 days per quarter, and allowing yourself to find out exactly what portion of your industry that you want to manifest a part of your contribution to. You want to articulate your reason for performing, your reason for participating, your reason for entering into your industry and providing a service or offers to your community. As I said, there's the moon sign that's going to be helping you figure out exactly what portion of society you're trying to help at that moment. And then you have the amount of zodiac signs that are in planets that are going to contribute to the needs of your community. As you build in this portion of your life, you're going to be utilizing the zodiac signs of these planets to support you in the offers that you're offering your community. So as I said, your sun sign in your birth chart placement, in your birth chart, the placement, the degree, and the house that it's in is going to help you navigate exactly where you can stem the actual offer and ideas from. You have themes within the house. There are topics in the house that are rooted in the themes that could help your industry. There are plenty of people. There are niches of people that are experiencing certain concerns, and you can literally provide for those people over and over and over. You can refine your offer to suit specific people within that narrative, and they can be a part of your community for specific reasons. They go to you for this, they go to you for that, and this is how you're able to utilize the offer, and it can spread beyond the people that you believe is so niche. Okay, so now I like to use your Mars placement to execute anything, your moon placement to utilize and build upon your imagination to create ideas. Your inner teenager, your Mars placement is going to be your manifestation. Your manifestation has to be built off action. You have to put effort meaning mentality, physical work, and your ideas going through a test run. You have to put every idea through a test run in order for you to see value in your ideas. Ideas are going to be set on, is this cool? Is this going to be accepted? Will anybody even see it as validation? You have to try it out multiple different ways in order for you to see if it's cool, if it's valid, if it's worthy, or if it's valuable. You have to be the one to self-promote. This is where your ego, your sun placement is going to help you navigate this trial run. Is your ego impressed? Is your ego wanting to move forward? Is your ego telling you that this needs a little bit more tending to, nourishment? Your moon sign, you have to nourish the idea in order for it to manifest. This is exactly how you build upon your value. So why I'm stating this in this new moon in Libra, we have it in the season of October. October is where you manifest the spookiness in your ideas. You have to create the ideas out of nothing. Manifesting through the month of October is probably the most fertile time in the year to actually build something that you don't believe is worthy. It could be something that is like completely not your usual ideas, and you can actually manifest something that you believe is so small, and it could be so valuable to somebody who is in need of your offer. So as you build in the season, we're approaching a retrograde in Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, which is now you have to build upon your spiritual journey. Your spiritual journey, your philosophy is going to be built through this manifestation in this new moon. You're balancing out your realities with the Libra portion of this new moon. You're balancing out what makes you feel good, what is going to actually satisfy you in your human experience outside of being validated by the external world. You have to see exactly what portion of your validation is rooted in your judgment. Your judgment is going to help this manifestation metamorphosize into something you are now proud of. So articulating your ideas is the first part of manifestation that people would prefer not experience. You would prefer not to have the responsibility, although your participation is everything. So I felt so prompted to get this out there, because this new moon in Libra is allowing you to see exactly where you stand right now, and being able to metamorphosize your current role in society and bring forth things that you know people need, you know you can offer, and this is also to bring in currency. Okay, so now that I've gotten that part done, I was really trying to get at the emotional connection to the things that you are building. This is where I talk about the moon sign for content that is free and public. Everything else is going to be hid behind a paywall in the Imprinted Empire Substack. And this is how I feel like this is the only way people can actually emotionally connect to the CEO. I am the CEO and founder of the Imprinted Empire, and the only way that you're going to be able to your imagination is going to have to be a part of your mentality in order to manifest anything in these new coming years that we're approaching. 2026 is a 1 year, 2025 is a 9 year. We're already closing out this cycle. And with this new moon entering into the last quarter of 2025, the 9 year, we are allowing ourselves to really look at the past and see exactly where we have participated, how much we've participated. And now we can actually see if we're going to be participating more, and for what reasons, and what industry are we going to be participating in. So as I say, your ego, your sun sign is your self-promoter. You have to be able to see your imagination and your ideas as something valuable, which means it's required a test run. This is going to be where you find your leadership. Your judgment is going to be the only thing that you need for self-validation. The external world will never be able to validate your subjective experience. That is like the harsh reality of manifestation. That's the harsh reality of science. That's the harsh reality of spiritual awakenings. That's the harsh reality of philosophy. That's the harsh reality of it. No one can validate your experiences. So, your signature energy, your signature element, your moon sign. This is where we're going to start. Okay, so imagining a new reality is going to be rooted in what you think is cool. Your inner child was going through those experiences before you hit puberty. When you got the opportunity to see how adults were living their life and you were not there yet, you have the opportunity right now to build from that standpoint of your mentality. Be as free as you want with ideas. Be as free as you want with your judgment. Be as free as you want in test running. Be as free as you want in building multiple ideas. The next season in 2026 is going to be highlighting multifaceted, multi-hyphenated people. You can have an umbrella of things that you talk about. You have multiple topics at your leisure to explore and find information about, but you have to be in alignment with your philosophy. Your values and what you value could be attached to those pillars and those topics that you have dear to your heart. So as I said, your moon sign, imagination, and ideas are the new triangle for that manifestation. So in order for you to actually have your ideas and see them as valuable, you have to take leadership. Your inner child is the leader in this portion of building these ideas from your imagination. You have to understand that the idea has to go through a trial run in order for your imagination to be validated, and then your inner child to be able to say to yourself, this is cool. This is cool enough to continue to explore. If you do not allow your inner child to have that exploration, you are not going to allow your ideas to be validated. That's the best thing you can do, is validate your ideas and bring them through the trial run that it deserves. It's okay. Okay, so the element of your moon sign, that's going to allow you to see exactly what portion of your insights, if you get it from a spark of inspiration, where that spark is like pleasure. For the fire signs, you get it through water and that emotional connection to any type of alluring energy or inspiration. You have it as earth energy. This is in resource and practical things that come into your life. It's like, that was so easy. Why didn't I think that? Then you have the air sign. This is where communication, where I utilize I utilize my Saturn placement because it's in an air sign. I use my Saturn placement to build most of my inspiration from, because everything deserves structure, in my opinion. Most times you can't structure your imagination, although your imagination needs to go through that trial run. So I utilize air energy all the time. What are people talking about? What do people talk about? And leisure conversation will let you know exactly where you need to get your ideas from. Having leisure conversation, you don't have to talk about specific things. You don't have to talk about trauma-filled things. You don't have to talk about things that are super creative. You don't have to talk about things that are super religious. None of it. Leisure conversation will always tell you what is not being met by your community. So I use an air sign to bring up my emotional connection to my imagination. How do I feel about what they're going through? Does this make me feel like, okay, I could probably provide some perspective, I can provide some resources, I can come up with some ideas that could actually solve any of their issues. This is how I, the CEO and founder of the Imprinted Empire, addresses my inner child and allows my inner child to explore my imagination in such ways. So allowing ourselves to go through that portion of our imagination is the only way you can go off and check your list of things to validate your ideas. Imagination, ideas, and your inner child telling yourself to explore and trial run these ideas that's the only thing that's going to get you to the inner teenager to execute these ideas. Execution is after you validate the idea, because when it gets boring or when you hit a roadblock, your inner child needs to say, this is why it's going to work. Why isn't it working here? And you have to constantly refine the process. This is why people give up really, really soon, because they don't go through the test runs of why this idea is valid. So think about this. So as you contribute to anything that you're going to be doing in your industry or your community, you're going to have to understand who is your target audience. After you validate and try to figure out what portion of your idea or offer is going to be serviced to anybody in your community or industry, who identifies with what you're offering. This is how you promote this to other people. Self-promotion is the top layer of this journey. Your midheaven is your professionalism. This is your attire. This is who you present your idea to. This is the type of people you surround yourself with, and allow yourself to say that I explored this idea to this extent, and after I explored it to this extent, this is my report. This is what I found. This is the resources that I've been able to align myself with to provide this to your community and such and such. So your professionalism is going to allow you to actually show when you bring this to your community and your industry, allowing yourself to build in this moment. You're going to say what it worked for, how you got there, and allowing yourself to build those findings and show exactly how this validates for the person and identifies with the experiences you're going for. So allowing yourself to articulate value, to show professionalism, and identify your target audience is going to help you solidify exactly who you've been working for since you started offering this to your community. You started listening to exactly where and who you are targeting for your offer. This is not trying to convince people that this is what they need. This is because you listened in leisure conversation to offer them something that they did not know they needed. They didn't even know that this resource could be manifested. This is where this metamorphosis is coming from, allowing yourself to see exactly where you can maneuver through your journey, your industry, your community, and see exactly how you can utilize your own offers from your own ideas.